menyaksikan pertandingan tunggal putra dari Korea Sun Kok-han dan dari Indonesia Eddy Kurniawan. Wasit James Lynch dari Kanada dibantu servis Richard Atwell dari
score after 3 matches between Korea and Indonesia is Korea 2, Indonesia 1. Next match will be men's single, Han Kok-sung of Korea against Eddy Kurniawan of Indonesia.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the fourth match of the Tournament Cup men's singles between Korea and Indonesia. On my left, representing Korea, Han Kuk-sung. On my right, representing Indonesia, Eddy Kurniawan. Korea will serve. Not all. Play.
So Sun Han-kuk carries his country's hopes now in the men's singles. And the home crowd, and especially this man Eddy Kurniawan, must be all fired up now. The score balanced at 2-1 in South Korea's favor overall. And the destiny of the Sudirman Cup hinges on this tie. Sun Han-kuk. Seldom do we see him in international competitions, but tonight he has a big task ahead of him, up against the very experienced Eddy Kurniawan.
One love.
very often dubbed the nearly man Eddy Kurniawan for his finishing runners-up in numerous tournaments. Tonight perhaps is his night for glory. I'm sure you'd like to see him do something for his country.
Here's Eddy taking the first points for Indonesia. Well, on paper, Eddy seems to be the favorite because of his vast match experience, although he has not won major tournaments. And most certainly this matchup will certainly be the deciding one for Korea.
Service over, 2-1.
Eddy Kurniawan was not fielded when Indonesia met South Korea earlier on in the preliminaries. When Sudirman played then, well, with his country placing their hopes on him, you should see Eddy giving a good account of himself.
Service over, 1-2.
Well, it's actually quite surprising because Sudirman is considered to be the better player on paper.
Well, perhaps Ichuk is saving himself for the tougher task when the individual championships comes around in a few days' time.
Yes, I think that must certainly be the reason, because Ichuk has a very big task ahead of him next week when he meets the likes of Hye-Young and the entire contingent of Chinese players.
So we have the score at 2-1, Sung Han-Kuk.
Well, that's the kind of shot Eddy Kurniawan is famous for, that jumping smash. And he regains the service. Well, that kind of shot worked for Susanti earlier on.
Service over, 2-all.
Well, things are pretty even at this stage as the two players are sizing each other up. 2-all.
Well, Chung certainly knows the strength of Eddy, because Eddy's strength lies in his power game. And as we see in the rallies, he's trying to play the ball short.
Service over, 2-3.
Well, Chung's got a very big task because South Korea have not had much success in singles.
And it's also interesting to note that the South Koreans have fielded a couple of different players in their group matches. They started off when Sung Han-kuk played against England. And then in the match against Indonesia, Lee Kwang-jin played. And yesterday in the semi-finals, it was the turn of Han Jae-hyun who played the men's singles. So Sung Han-kuk only had the experience of playing in the opening tie against England. That's when he defeated Stephen Butler 15-10, 15-10. Well, he'll need to be at his very best tonight if he's to contain the experience of this man, Eddy Kurniawan, who is serving now.
Well, Susi, I think it's probably because Korea does not have a dominant singles player, and that's probably the reason why they've fielded 3 different players for the singles.
Well, if not for the fact that Park Chu-bong has also entered for the mixed as well as the men's doubles, he too might have been fielded in the singles as well.
Yes. Well, Eddy must be very angry with himself because he had Sung Han-kuk right there, and Sung Han-kuk just managing to win the point.
While Eddy is finding Han-kuk a tough customer, he's not letting Eddy romp ahead. 4 points apiece.
Service over, 4-all.
Well, all I can say is that the Indonesians have fielded Eddy partly because he's had a very comfortable performance in the earlier match against England when he defeated Darren Hall 15-12, 15-7. And I think it's reassuring to know that he hasn't been overshadowed by the exploits of Ichok Sugiarto. Well, he was just like a tiger at the net there, he just pounced on the short shuttle.
Service over, 4-5.
Sung Han-kuk proving too that he has a smash that is worthy of consideration.
Well, Eddy making headway there, just he's edging ahead.
Service over, 4-6. Service over, 6-4.
Eddy Kurniawan now with a healthy 3-point lead.
Well, although Korea has a 2-match-to-1 advantage at this point, I must say that they cannot afford to be complacent.
8-4.
Well, things are looking good now for Eddy Kurniawan, and if he manages to tie the score even at 2-all overall, then they're in for a great finale to a night of great badminton action.
9-4.
Well, we've just seen the popular stroke of Eddy Kurniawan, that wonderful smash of his.
Service over. 4-9. Service over. 9-4.
Fine judgment by Eddy Kurniawan, and it's 10-4. And from the time he achieved his 6th point, he's begun to show his superiority. Great return by Eddy,
Great reflexes too.
and he knows exactly where the shuttle will come from, and he just let his racket do all the work then.
Other players applying some adhesive to the racket grips to make it tacky, as I'm sure they must be perspiring very heavily in this heat and humidity.
Service over. 4-11.
Well, Sung-Han Cook very quick to exploit an error there by Eddy.
Service over. 11-4.
The right amount of weight, as you can see now, it just needed to tip the shuttle over.
Rather a quick flurry of bewildering shots from Eddy Kurniawan just leaves Sung-Han Cook with very little to do, because Eddy now is just 2 points from taking the first game.
Eddy Kurniawan has certainly put on a great show in this first game, and is now match game point. Wrapping up easily, 15-4. Eddy Kurniawan. Now we see the final point. Return from Han Kuk.
Yes, it's a clinical display of power badminton. He jumps up and puts the smash away.
15-4, comfortable victory for Eddy Kurniawan. Our prospects are certainly bright for the final game of the night, the mixed doubles, to be the match that will decide where the Sudirman Cup goes, either to South Korea or will it stay back home in Indonesia. Sun Han Kuk tried as he had in the first game, proving that Eddy Kurniawan's wealth of experience had won him the battle in that first game, comfortably wrapping up 15-4.
Well, the mixed doubles is the match I think we're all going to be looking forward to, because it pits the number 1 seed
Second game.
of Park Ju-bong and Chung Myung-Hee. A very formidable combination against an equally formidable combination of Eddy Hartono and Verawaty.
Ball. Play.
But right now, attention back to centre court here as Eddy Kurniawan attempts to complete the second game against his opponent Park Sung Han Kuk of South Korea.
Love. Service over. Love 1.
Well, Eddy a little callous there because he had total control at the net.
Fault. Service over. 1-all.
Sung Han Kuk trying to play the net game because he knows Eddy Kurniawan has a very powerful smash.
Amply demonstrated by that action of his, Eddy Kurniawan, his feigned smashing prowess. And Sung Han Kuk, the unfortunate recipients of that smash, which carries Kurniawan now to a 3-1 lead.
4-1.
And Han Kuk providing very little resistance to that acute smash now by Eddy Kurniawan. 4-1.
you'll pardon the expression, Eddy Kurniawan is certainly jumping to a very big lead. He's asked permission from the umpire to towel off his perspiration.
Service over. 1-5. Service over. 5-1.
Han Kuk going one way, while Kurniawan sending the shuttle another. In a clear lead of 4 points by 5-1. Well, anything that Han Kuk knows, Kurniawan knows and does it better. 6-1.
Service over. 1-6.
Well, Sun Han Kuk has taken 2 points in quick succession.
Service over. 6-3.
Well, I'm sure Eddy would be wanting to perform very well tonight because it will certainly boost his chances for the individual title next week.
And Eddy timed that to perfection. 7-3.
Yes, he picked the spot perfectly, and because Han Kuk just couldn't cover that part of the court.
Nice points from Eddy. 8-3.
9-3.
And the prospects of the final tie of the evening, being the decider of the Sudirman Cup, looks good now. With Eddy Kurniawan comfortably 10-3 and now 11-3 in the lead.
11-3.
Sung Han-kuk is resigned now to his fate of having to play second best on this occasion. Managing 4 points in the first game, and now he is 3-11 behind in the second. And Kurniawan absolutely wrong-footing him.
Well, I think Han-kuk there was a little hesitant. He didn't know what to do with the shuttle, and he paid the price for it because Eddy was there to quickly pounce on it.
And Eddy Kurniawan with his own bit of showmanship there, as if attempting to hit the shuttle, but actually he knew very well that it was going wide. So Han-kuk with a chance of at least getting another point. And not taking his chance.
So Eddy Kurniawan is just 2 points away to leveling the score. 2 matches all.
Service over. 3-13.
Well, Sun Han-kuk will be trying very hard to prevent that.
Service over.
Not with the kind of service he wants. And finally discarding his wristband, Eddy Kurniawan, knowing that victory is more or less confirmed now.
Match point 3.
Well, the crowd very, very behind their man tonight. Yes.
So Eddy Kurniawan with a comfortable victory over Sun Han-kuk of South Korea, 15-4, 15-3.
Match won by Indonesia, 15-4, 15-3.
And we have the final tie of the evening, the mixed doubles coming up. And the most important tie of the night, with the scores finally balanced at 2 games all, with the South Koreans taking the first 2 doubles in the men's and women's division, and Indonesia clinching the singles through Susi, Susanti, and now Eddy Kurniawan.
Yes, here we watch in the replay a clinical demonstration of the power and pace of Eddy Kurniawan.
Para hadirin sekalian, kedudukan